Hello everyone, this is the Final Bosman, and on today's episode, we're talking about video game sales data. So pull out your calculators. We're gonna do math. Welcome to the show. I am Kyle Bosman, and happy Wednesday, everybody. First, let's just say happy Wednesday. How often do you get to say happy Wednesday in a week? Dumb joke. Why did I do that? I'm a little out of sorts. My boss, Brandon Jones, is in the room right now, setting up for a live stream. He's never sat in on a recording of Final Bosman before. I feel like I'm being evaluated. He's not paying attention, but I still feel like he's listening. It's getting to me. You know what? I'm just gonna perform my best. I'm gonna do what I can. Hope the boss likes it. And yeah, I wanna talk about video game sales this week. Video game sales are a weird thing that we allow in the video games biz to like, we don't like question it enough. Much like most anticipated lists that I wanted to talk about last week. This week I want to talk about video game sales in a similar way, like, hey, these are ridiculous. These are ridiculous things that we don't call out enough. But first I want to talk about a segment on the news. Every Monday on the news, on like your weekly local broadcast news, there's a thing where, it's funny when I start talking about news, that's when I straighten my tie. Anyway, on your news, you have this thing where they'll be like, and the box office this weekend, Taken 3 took $39 million using its unique set of skills. I saw it. Did you see it? No, I'm waiting to, don't spoil it. I'm waiting to see it. That is so stupid. That is insane. No one points at that top 3 countdown of movies and say, this should not be on the news. This is stupid. This is not news. And basically, Kyle, why is that not news? It's a list about numbers. I got some numbers. Number 1, it's just one weird week. It's just one weird week throughout the entire 52 weeks of a year. Like, good job, Taken 3. You beat Selma. You proud of yourself for beating Selma? Are we proud of ourselves for giving Taken 3 more money than we gave Selma? Good job, America. You give it all to Taken 3. Take that, Selma. Number 2, that's just domestic. When the news puts, hey, there's our top 3 movie, that's just the United States. It's like, well, I think actually, like, if you look at the world, that dumb Hobbit movie probably made more money. I don't want to hear it. I only care about America. By which I mean North America, most specifically the United States of America. Don't get your Canadian box office. Number 3, weird to rank success off of like how many millions of dollars you're making at the box office. I guess because how do we consider like $1 million? It means a lot more to Selma than it does to Taken 3, right? There could be a movie on top of this that is losing money. However, we want to put it on top because that's the winner. That's crazy. And also, like, this box office, this one weekend means less and less of a portion of a movie's total money that it's going to make throughout its life. So, like, why put significance here? Why on that one weekend? Show me more. Show me more numbers. What's the best book? Which book made the most money this weekend? I gotta know who won. Why not the fast food restaurants? Who won the fast food weekend? I gotta know. What's the best store in the mall? Tell me on the news. Who's the best store? Which athlete made the most money this weekend? Tell me. No, just movies for some reason. Why movies? I don't know. I got 2 more reasons why I think movies are on the news. 1, everybody loves movies. If you got hot red blood gushing through your body, you love movies. You love Rudy. You love the Goonies. You love the Lord of the Rings. You love Sean Astin. And you love movies. Everybody loves movies. Put them on the news. Second thing, humans love ranking things. We love categorizing things. And above all else, we love winners. We freaking love winners. Human brains just love winners. And you know what we don't like? Losers. With that in mind, let's finally talk about video game sales. So there's no weekly report on video game sales on the news. We get our sales data from primarily 4 different sources. In the US, we have something called the NPD Group, who monthly will release top 10 software, publicly anyway, and kind of the consoles that won, they'll say, hey, this console won, but no strict numbers. You have to pay them to get the numbers. In the US, they're the only people who do it, who care to, or want to, bother to. VG charts does not count. If your website ends with a Z, you do not count. Prove it. Prove me wrong. Find a website that ends with a Z and say, this one counts. In Europe, there's something called GfK Chart Track. Similarly to NPDs, they don't do specific like numbers sold. They'll just do top 10, but they'll do it weekly. However, this covers the UK and Ireland and nothing else. That is what GfK chart track is. In Japan, there are 3 competing sales data trackers. There's Media Create, who Nintendo likes the most. There's Famitsu, and there's Dengeki PlayStation. These last 2 are publications, they're magazines. And what's cool about all 3 of these is that they'll publish numbers, hard numbers. They'll say this is how many items of this were sold. That's pretty cool. Why? Why does Japan do it and not US and Europe? I have some reasons why I think that is. Reason number 1, Japan, it's a smaller country. And I mean, Europe's a continent. And so it's easier to track Japan most likely than it is to track the US and sales all over all the GameStops. Number 2, those last 2 being publications, their incentive to track sales data isn't necessarily to sell it to Michael Pachters. It's to serve as entertainment to people who read their magazines. What that means is, I think in general, people in Japan care more about video games than people in the United States or other countries do. Right? US cares about movies. Yeah, put movies on the news, but don't put video games. I don't care about how video game sales are. There are people in Japan who see these numbers and just say, oh, look how great Tokiden did. Oh, that just warms my heart. It's at number 7. Honey, did you see the sales? Did you see how good Tokiden did? Which game? Tokiden. No, how'd it do? It's number 7. It sold 4,800 units this week. That just warms my heart. Me, as I said, the exact same thing. Our 4th place where we get sales data straight from the horse's mouth. This is from these companies when they do press releases, though in press releases they'll often cite NPD sales data, interestingly enough, but also in investor meetings where it's like, hey, we're a publicly traded company, there's no more effing around, here's the hard numbers of how many of these we sold. Publishers will have to do that too. And so that's interesting. That is the situation we're in where all of our numbers come from weird places. A funny thing about those 3 competing Japanese number trackers is that they don't agree with each other. They're always different. They always have different numbers for how many these have sold in any given week. The truth is, nobody's right. There's no hard number of how many units this thing has sold. That's crazy. And NPD's, the US doesn't even track digital sales. All of these games we're downloading onto our consoles, they don't even track. Those aren't accounted for. What's even weirder, last month, NPD Group puts out their top 10 in the US. Here's our top 10 games of last month. Assassin's Creed Unity is number 9. And we're all kind of like, yes, really stick it to Ubisoft. They deserved that. 11 days later, after it's released, there's a new release coming from NPD Group that says, oh, sorry, there was an error in the data. We mixed things up. It's not a big deal, but Assassin's Creed is actually number 5. And so it bumps up. Pokemon gets bumped down. And so we kind of shrug our shoulders and say I don't care. But the truth is we do care. We wanted it at number 9. And that's what I want to talk about. I'm not saying we should stop caring about these numbers, because that's like saying we should stop being humans. Humans love numbers. We love ranking things. What I do think we should recognize is that these numbers are silly. They are imaginary. They are things that exist within a certain period that are most likely incorrect. They're estimates in all cases. And when they are hard numbers, when they're hard facts, when we're in an investor meeting and we find out exactly how many consoles have been sold, that's already out of date. And more things have been sold since then. And so it's you got a team you love. You got this team that you want to root for. It's what do you want to root for? Do you want to root for them being the people who make the most money, or the people who profit the most, the people who sell the most things to the most people, the most impact? I guess if you want to get serious, if you don't want to cheer for a silly thing, you want to cheer for a serious thing, it should be impact. It should be cheering for creators, affecting the world, moving things forward, having a change in a person's life, as opposed to a number on a list on a particular month that is the NPDs. I think that's a conclusion I wanted this week. Hey, if you're on Twitter, you can find me at Kyle Bosman. Oh boy, we gotta add another person in this backdrop. By the way, we opened the windows this week based on popular request. If you hate this, let me know, and then so we can balance that all back out. But right now I'm gonna add a person, Omega Chaos, Chaos with 2 Z's, I assume, called me out on an interesting thing. No one's done this yet. Called me out on using past tense to describe a current feeling with a video game, which you know I do not like to do. So here you are, Omega Chaos. Okay, Omega Chaos, you are now able to watch the spaceship all day long next to all of those different matrices. And one all greens. Everyone, I'll be back here next Wednesday. Hope to see you then. Thanks for watching. Humans, I don't know, we love to rank things. We rank music. We rank songs. We take these 3.5-minute little pieces of art and we say, oh, this one's better. This one's a better song. How do you do it? How do you do it, Casey Kasem? Well, let me tell you. I start off, I say, I'm Casey Kasem. This is America's Top 10. And I say, this next song is better than the last one. This is Mariah Carey with Always Be My Baby. And then that song is the best that week. And then the next week, more people vote in. Sometimes I'll tell a sad story in between. This next song comes from Alabama. Dear Casey, my dog used to love this song. Will you please play it on your show? Well, Tyler, we're about to play that song. This is Mariah Carey. Always Be My Baby.